This is Hogwarts Legacy running on a Intel Core i9-13900K with 64 gigs of RAM and a 12 gig Intel Arc B580 video card. So currently we're running at 1440p actual rendered resolution with on a 4K monitor. We are running at, dang it, that's not what I wanted to do. We are running at the low setting, and then we do have the smallest amount of AMD FSR2 as well. So this is going to be, if you're running on the B580, I almost guarantee you're not running on a faster processor than this. I don't see why you would. The only reason I could see this running with a 9800X3D is if you're just like me and you got one and then you decided to pick up one of these cards for testing. But real world usage, I would expect people to be running on a lower system than this. But that being said, I've seen a lot of good deals on 13700 and 13900s lately. You could definitely get away with doing this. Like, I don't necessarily see this as like the $1,500 system it might have been, maybe $2,000 system it might have been a year or two ago. Like, if you bought a 13900K, especially if you bought secondhand off your local market, you can find the chip for $275 to $350. Then you put it on the cheapest board you can get your hands on for like $100. You're at like $400. Plus you put maybe $65 worth of DDR5 in it. I mean, all said and done, I mean, you could be looking for the base setup here, like $650, $750. I mean, that's not a bad buy. I mean, that's not a lot of money when you're talking about gaming systems. So, so I would say these are the best settings. This is not one of those games where you put it in at low settings and it becomes a totally different game and it just looks like garbage. This actually looks pretty good. It's actually, I originally was testing it at lower frame rate, high setting, because I didn't think it would look this good at this low of a setting. But apparently this is one of those games where dropping the settings dramatically increases the frame rate, but doesn't really dramatically kill the visuals. Like, this really isn't that bad. I can't complain. Now, I am someone that's not as picky about frame rate, so normal usage, I would be running it at like 1440p medium settings at, say, like 45, 50 FPS, something like that. But running it at this lower setting, just, it makes it so that you don't have to constantly be adjusting. And so if you just set it at this lower setting, you set the lowest amount of FSR, you're not going to be constantly saying, okay, I got to change the settings because now in this part of my game, my FPS is low, and then it goes back up, and then it goes down. This just keeps it high enough that the other option is you could increase your FSR. I'm totally an advocate of FSR, but only at the lowest amounts of FSR. Once you start putting a high degree of FSR in, it tends to really jack with the quality. At the lower amounts, I think it's totally acceptable. At this amount, I say, why wouldn't you? But anything much more, and you start really getting just graphical issues, and it unnecessarily damages it. So I would leave it at the low FSR. Let's go inside the castle and see how it looks in there. Yeah, there really isn't that much. It's smooth. It's running nice. I know nobody wants to run their game at low settings, but give it a whirl. You might be surprised. Most of these newer games, they look pretty good at the low setting. Like, you don't need medium or high like people think. Now, this is one that the overall visual experience is definitely still there at the low settings. I'm going to guess it's really going to be noticeable on, like, the water effects and stuff like that. But yeah, see, now we're getting closer to a lot more people and interaction and stuff, and it's stuff's slowing down a little bit. But it's like I said, it's exactly what I mentioned. It's high enough where you're not dropping down to stuttery and looking like garbage. So I really think this low setting, low amount of FSR, 1440p resolution is really your ticket to I think this is your ticket for best overall. I have no idea how to play this game. I don't even know how I got this far. Games, this tends to be what happens with me in games. I'll get a game and I'll spend a couple of years jacking around with it before I actually figure out how to play it. And then the game's obsolete by the time I figure out how to play the damn thing, more or less. It's definitely not bad though. I'm satisfied with this. I'd play it at this level. And again, you got movement to go whichever direction you want to go. You can add some more FSR, and maybe I wouldn't try to play at 4K. I did try that, and it really 4K really taxes it, and really on this game, 4K isn't really a viable option. But you could raise the settings and deal with lower frame rate. You could raise the settings and put in a little more FSR and deal with a little bit lower quality. But yeah, there's lots of options here. So you can mess around with it and get it to where you want. But I think this is a pretty solid baseline. So sorry for all my talking, but that's how I do my videos. There's nothing I hate more than just videos with no commentary, because I assume if you're watching my channel, you're interested in what I have to say about the game. But anyway, I hope you guys find this interesting, and I hope this helps you guys kind of figure out where you want to be at for the in-game experience. And thanks for watching the video.